Hello, everyone, and welcome into Mavs on Deck for today's pregame as the Berries get set to face the Mavs here at Athletic Park once more after yesterday's debacle where the Berries were all over the Mavs from the very jump, 4 home runs in the first inning. And if that's the team that the Mavericks are going to be seeing throughout the rest of the season, they're not going to win a ton of games against them.
Well, one of the good things is we don't play the Berries every day, and but we get a chance to play them today after that whooping that we took last night. Basically, the game was over in the first inning. 9 runs were scored, and we weren't able to stop them from there on. They did score some more runs, and we weren't able to get anything after the first inning when we had our opportunities. So let's look forward to a much better game today.
And in curling, they call the last throw the hammer, and it feels like the Berries have that right now with Matt Whitney going on the mound today. He has been an extraordinary pitcher over the last 2 seasons. He's near the league lead again in wins this year, and he will be a tall task for the Mavericks. He's real good.
We've got two quality pitchers, Xander Roberts pitching for the Mavs. I expect a much better competitive game today. And really, if the Berries keep hitting the way they are, like they did yesterday, this game could be over early again today.
The Berries wearing those blue uniforms today, and a uniform change up for the Mavs out there. They have their red and gray camo type uniforms, the first time they will wear them at home this year, and we'll see if that changes a little bit of their momentum on the diamond. And we will tell you who's going to be on the diamond in a moment's time, but first we will give you a word from our network, Flow Sports, where you can catch us all day long and catch the action when 2:05 rolls around. It's a sunny day in the sunniest city in Canada as the Medicine Hat Mavericks look to get their revenge against the Saskatoon Berries here at home. 2:05 first pitch is thrown out today, and it was not a good day yesterday for the Mavs, as we talked about. They were down 13-1, their biggest loss of the season, their second loss at home this season, and they are going to have to be in one today if they look to get back on their horse and back in the win column. Xander Roberts on the mound, a little bit of a spoiler there, so they will have a good chance with their ace getting ready to go. And let's see who the batters are that he will be facing on the Berries side, Wayne.
Okay, leading off for the Berries, Ethan Menard is batting first. He'll be catching today. Abiam Medina is a DH. Ethan Murdoch in right field. Mason Rell at third base. Evan Janner in center field. Corey Waters at first base, Jalen Freeman in left field, Cooper Westland at second base, and Nomar Prieto at shortstop. For the hometown Mavs, Jeremy Freeman leading off in center field, Jaden Babiak moving up. He'll be at third base today, batting second. Tyler Vanesti is the DH, Johnny Volcano at short. Nate King is catching today. He'll be batting fifth. Adam Volcano at first base, Blake Dale at second base, Yuzi Uzawa in left field, and Micah Dvorak in right field. The umpires for tonight's game, behind home plate, it says Brian Stair, but I don't believe that's Brian Stair. Brian Stair looks to be at first base. Boy, I'm not sure who the umpires are.
Yeah,
that's not Brian. That's not Brian Stair at home plate, I believe. So
no, I don't think that is either. I
have
no idea at all.
Yeah, Mike Richards is at first base and Trevor Stoico at third base. So we'll have to get that cleared up. My apologies, folks. I just took it off the script that was given to us.
So while we figure out who the umpires are, I guess we didn't introduce ourselves. Wayne Slosher, Truman Bartman, and as always, if you are aware or aren't, that's who is covering this one for today. As the Mavericks continue to roll through their starting lineup, and let's roll into who's going to be out on the mound. Mentioned earlier, it's Xander Roberts. 3 wins on the year. He's 3-0, a 1.71 ERA. That's among the league's best. I believe in the top 5 still, and he's got 14 Ks on the year. Not the highest total on the Mavs, but he does generate lots and swings and misses. He's been getting that third strike that's been a little bit of a challenge. But for Roberts again today, he has King behind the plate. They have been quite the combo so far this year, and they will look to duplicate their success once again here at home. It's a place that Roberts has loved to play. He's found his rhythm, and he's looking to find another win. So as they finish out announcing the starting lineup, we might as well announce that we will have a special guest on today's stream. We're not going to spoil who it is quite yet, but it is an employee for the Mavs who has a very important role. And if you come to one of the games here, and if you sit in the ground level, I'm sure you will see a lot of her. But we won't say anything further, and instead, we will pass it down to the field for our national anthem. not sure if you caught that in the background from Wayne, but the umpires have been switched around. So Brian Stairs over at third. And we have a very interesting situation taking place on the field. The A&W Root Bear, who had probably one of the funniest opening pitches I've ever seen on a diamond. He was here last year, hardly made it out to the mound. You can see him getting guidance there. And I'm not even sure the ball stayed within the walk-up path for the batters. It might have went sideways a season ago. We'll see if the Root Bear has some redemption there. And that one didn't reach even the dirt. And a little bit of a celebration for the Root Bear. This might take a minute trying to get him off the field, as direction is tough and so is speed out there. And that's something we didn't get to see a lot of with the Berries yesterday, was their speed on the base path. And it was because they were hitting a lot of home runs. It'll be interesting to see if that factors into their game plan today.
The wind is blowing out to right field again. That didn't hurt the Berries last night, but I don't think any of their home runs were wind aided at all. They thumped the ball pretty good. I think some of those balls would have had a flat side on them if we would have gotten them back. Great crowd here today. Fans are still coming in. I'm expecting we're going to have about 1,500 fans here today. Lots of Berry fans too. They travel well with their team.
Yeah, you could say that they travel very well.
The traveling Wilburys.
I don't even know what that is, but you've introduced a new term to me, Wayne.
Well, you'll have to Google the traveling Wilburys. Led by Carnahan and his crew.
Yeah, Joe Carnahan, a super accomplished manager in this league. Coach of the Year a couple of times. An MVP back during his playing days. He's won a few titles, especially when Swift Current was really good back in their heyday. He was at the helm. It's interesting because you see lots of turnover within the WCBL with coaches. But Carnahan has found himself in the league for a lot. We obviously see with Regina and Fort McMurray, their coaches have been there for a while as well. Whereas for the Mavericks, feels like there's almost a new body in there every year. But the bodies they do get in there are consistent at winning. You think of Andrew Murphy was the coach of the year, and of course Kevin Mitchell won coach of the year. JT could be in the conversation this year, so they picked well.
Well, Okotoks have very consistent. Chatwood at Sylvan Lake has been there since they started. I think the teams that have consistent success are the teams that have consistency in their management group.
And no consistency at the top of the order here for the Berries, as Carter Beck is out of the lineup today. Carter Beck has not struggled a lot, so to say, this year, but he did go 1 for 5 last time he saw Xander Roberts, his worst game of the season. So I'm sure that Beck is happy he doesn't have to face Roberts, and it might be the other way for Roberts as well after the night that Beck had last evening. This one's going to be fouled off by another dangerous hitter here for the Berries, and that's catcher tonight, Ethan Menard. He was at first yesterday.
Nathan Houston was also out of the lineup for the Berries. Played short last night.
And we'll be talking about Houston a little bit further on in this game. And he might just pop up during our Player of the Week segment. Here comes Roberts. No chase there. His off speed is elite. That's where he makes his money. Didn't get a chase that time from Menard. Menard can hit the long ball very well. He had a home run in the first yesterday against Jensen Cockrell. Here's the throw from Roberts. This one's going to be hit high into a spot where a lot went out yesterday. And there's another. Menard goes deep right center field, and he begins his day like he began his last. Not something you see a lot from Roberts either, giving up the long ball in his first matchup of the game.
Yeah, Menard hits that ball so high, and the wind, we were just saying, blows out. It's blowing out to right field, and he hit that right center field wind vein. That was still a home run, whether or not the wind was blowing, but he hit it to the right spot.
And now here's the test for the Mavericks. They did the same. They had the same result yesterday. Can they calm down the Berries early on and not have a big blow-up inning right off the go? Roberts' tempo hasn't changed at all. He's still working quickly. That one out of the reach of the second baseman, Dale, as it's into center field. Carter Roth not in the lineup today, so Blake Dale takes that place. He can play all over the diamond, and as Wayne alluded to yesterday, Dale likes playing in the middle infield, so he's going to be right at home today.
Yeah, we do have a change of our infield. Babiak was at third later on in the game, and Babiak was at second. Now they flip-flopped.
Still no outs for the Mavericks here. The batter up is Ethan Murdoch. Throw over to first. They're going to check on Medina. Roberts back onto the mound now. Ooh, high one there. And control hasn't been an issue for Roberts at all. Seeing a bit of that in this matchup. This one's going to be popped up. It's going to be unplayable for King. That one bounces near us and a kid down below catching it. Two and one count. Here's the throw from Roberts. It's going to miss, and he's not getting the chase.
Yeah, he's just missing too far with that curveball. It's not starting on the plate and breaking off. It's already in the left-handed batter's box.
There's a strike from Roberts. The count will run full. And a high one, so a walk from Roberts. This is not an ideal start from him, and the shakiest that he's looked. King will go out to calm down his nerves, and if there's going to be a guy to do it, it's going to be King. They got a real solid connection.
Yeah, we just got to attack the zone early in the count. We're falling behind.
And for JT, he's got to be worried seeing the same cycle 2 days in a row, and this is without Houston and Beck in the lineup. Mason Roll comes up to the plate. He's batting in the cleanup spot today. Was a lot lower in the lineup a night ago. And actually, it's Mason Rell, rather. We should correct that early on. This one is stung out to right field, and it's going to drop. So a base hit and maybe more for Rell. Runner's going to come around and score for the Berries. They got a 2-0 lead on an RBI double from Mason Rell. Still no outs here for the Mavericks. The game plan for the Berries being executed to perfection, and they now have two in scoring position. Up is Evan Janner. He had a great day yesterday, a home run that was shoveled over into right field, carrying with the wind, and he was batting in the last spot in their lineup.
He had 2 home runs yesterday.
This one is pummeled up through center field, and a couple more runs going to come in to score for the Berries.
Oh, no. Can't make that throw.
And the Berries' next batter is going to run out of the way. King's going to run to the ball, and same story once again. It's already a 4-0 Berries lead.
That was a bad decision by Jeremy to throw that home. There was no chance to get either runner, and he threw it home, and the runner trotted down to second. And he is patting his chest saying, my fault, but bad decision.
4 runs on 4 hits in the first. This must be the Berries' game plan. Come in and put up a ton of runs early on and then let your pitching do the rest. Still no outs for the Mavericks. One's going to catch for a strike. Seems like every time Roberts has put one in the zone, they've hit it the other way.
Well, they have good approaches.
Roberts can't get it to hit the same spot. Some bouncing going on behind Roberts. And that one's going to miss. Count is 3-1.
Matter of inches sometimes we talk about in baseball, and those are just missing by inches off the corner.
Runner's going to go, and they're going to catch him in a rundown.
Oh,
and they're not even going to get him. My goodness.
Babiak waited way too long to get rid of it.
The Mavericks playing nervous on the diamond.
Good job by Roberts stepping off.
High throw from Roberts, so another walk. JT's going to get somebody warming up in the dugout. It looks like it's Luis Diaz. JT looking to preserve this game, not let it get to where yesterday's did. But the Mavs got to look at smaller challenges right now. They got to find a way to get an out. Here comes Jalen Freeman to the dish. That pitch is going to hit for a strike. Freeman takes there. Just a calming approach from all Barry's members.
Yeah, they're staying within what they think they can do best up at the plate. They're not chasing.
Freeman was looking away before that one arrived at the plate.
Well, the Mavs would love a ground ball here, or a pop-up to the infield.
There's a strike from Roberts. Count is 2-2. But if you're Freeman, you know what's coming now. It's going to be one down the middle. I'm sure Roberts doesn't want to get to another full count. And instead, he's going to wait on it. JT coming out to the mound, and some frantic action happening on the Mavericks side.
Yeah, it's 3 walks this inning from Roberts, who usually doesn't walk players, but he's just missing.
I'd be so curious to what this discussion sounds like right now on the mound. You got your ace out there, and he is having a less than ideal day. 4-0 lead already. The bases are loaded, and the Mavericks are yet to have gotten an out. Long conversation between JT and Roberts. And Roberts probably shocked a bit that it's gone this way.
Well, I think he has to start the pitches more in the middle of the plate. Right now, he's trying to hit the corners, and he's missing, and he's walking players, falling behind. And sometimes the catcher and the pitcher just have to decide, we got to get back to the middle of the plate.
This one's going to be hit over towards right field, and it'll go foul. So we'll move back to loaded bases here. Cooper Westland up to bat. Westland the 8-hitter, and in back-to-back days, the Berries will likely go through their order twice in the they'll have a batter bat twice in the first. One's going to miss from Roberts.
That pitch has not been kind to Xander today. That curveball isn't even close to catching the corner.
This one is rifled into left field. 1 run coming around to score. The bases will stay loaded. Long throw. Babiak's on the end of it. And the Mavericks still without an out on the board. It is a 5-0 ball game. The Mavericks haven't even got a chance to bat yet. Barry's down at the bottom of their order now. It's no more Prito. Here's a throw from Roberts. That one up high. Count will go to 1-1. There's not a whole lot that you can say in a situation like this where there's been lots of walks and the Berries continually fluttering through their lineup. We said everything that needed to be said in a situation like this yesterday. And
yeah. As a pitcher, some days you can hit those spots and everything's working, and other days you're trying, you're frustrated. It's just rolling off your hand differently, and you can't find that plate.
And against a good team like the Berries, when you're off your game, they're going to make you pay even more than other teams in the league would. We've talked extensively about the players that they added to their team this year. We've mentioned the returners as well, the Menards and the Becks of the world. This one's going to be popped up, and the count will run full.
I think the fans might give us a Bronx cheer if we get it out.
Usually there's a large roar for a run being scored, but this is a different scenario. Here's the throw, and a run will walk in. A 6-0 ball game here. No outs on the board. JT telling Luis Diaz to ramp it up. So that's the other problem for the Mavericks, is they were expecting Roberts to go for quite a few innings, not have to use anybody in their bullpen. They fortunately get the off day tomorrow. But in this situation, Diaz hasn't been warming up quickly, and I mean, I'm not surprised. It's inning number 1. Why would he? This one over towards center field. No. And Freeman is going to watch it bounce off the top of the wall. 1 run will come in to score. Volcano won't make the throw, so it is now a 6-0 ball game. Can the Berries touch the number they did yesterday? I think that's the question now.
It looked like UC in left field didn't know where the ball was, and I'm not sure Jeremy did. There seemed to be confusion on that. Well, I thought the ball was over the fence, first of all. I thought it was a home run.
You do a deep part of the park like that, you never know, and there might have been questions to where that ball was at. There's no question that Roberts' day is done. And it was a tricky outing for Xander, giving up 7 runs on 6 hits and wasn't able to claim an out. So Luis Diaz will come up to pitch, and we will send it to a commercial break and be back. So a stunner here at Athletic Park again. Luis Diaz comes on the mound very prematurely. Diaz has good stuff. He's navigating with 3 runners behind him. None of those belong to him. but he's just hunting down one out. Here's the pitch, and Babiuk will throw it home, a high throw, so they're going to get the out at the plate. And a good play by Babs. It would have been tough to go backwards with a throw to second to get two, and with the runners already with some separation on the base path, it's the right play to get it to King.
Yeah, he was playing in, and if the ball was hit to him, that was going to be his play.
Ethan Murdoch, the beer batter, and an elite hitter at that, so I'm not sure why he is the beer batter today. I guess if he strikes out, it'll answer that question, and if he doesn't, then you'll also get an answer. Here goes Diaz. That one in the heart of the plate for strike one. 1-on-1 count here in a 7-0 ball game. Diaz couldn't bring that one down. Diaz going to step forward and gets an early swing there from Murdoch. And this will be a test for Diaz as well. This is the best team that he's seen, the best lineup that he's seen. And looking at how he's doing against Murdoch and even the at-bat prior, his off-speed stuff is still looking great as that one's going to go foul. And it's given the Berries trouble.
Well, he and Sentia have been very consistent coming in. They throw lots of strikes. They attack the strike zone. And they work quickly.
2-2 count. Long hold here from Diaz. He's going to send this one in and right off the end, or the closest part to the hands of the bat. Blanked on what the name of that was for a second. Diaz right back to it. Here's the throw and another foul. Murdoch has given him a challenge. And this is not what you want to see if you're the Mavericks, because you've already used one pitcher. Now you're getting a second pitcher's pitch count fairly high. And Murdoch, I mean, this is the perfect at-bat to have against Diaz. See what he does here on 2-2 and another foul. This is mono e mono. Here comes from Diaz, and he gets him looking. Oh, in long counts like that, it's never in the favor of the pitcher. But when your name is Luis Diaz, things can change, and he freezes Murdoch there.
Yeah, it came right in on his hands and was able to get the call.
Mason Rell at the plate. Rell had a good first at-bat. It was a RBI double. Yes, that happened this inning.
Yeah, he sprayed it down the right field line.
First pitch was a ball from Diaz. Here comes another, and a swing and a miss. That one had some shimmy to it.
Well, it would be nice if the Mavs could shut it down.
Diaz, another one in the zone.
The home plate umpire tonight this afternoon is Trevor Stoico. Brian Stair is at third base. Mike Richards at first.
Talked about Mike Richards yesterday and the job he's done this year. This one's going to be fouled aside, and maybe another long battle coming Diaz's way. This time it's with Rell. Rell playing at Indiana State, so teammates with Carter Beck over there. He's just a freshman, but his approach, he's showing some maturity in his at-bats.
Beck's a freshman too, is he not? Yeah, I believe he is.
Here comes a throw from Diaz. This one's going to be popped foul.
Fans are still coming in. I'm thinking we're going to have 1,600 here today. 1,500. Lots of Barrie fans. I see a Hoffman jersey over there.
Here comes a throw from Diaz. That one sails high. That Hoffman jersey might be a Padres jersey. I think it might be Trevor Hoffman, the Hall of Fame closer in the MLB.
Well, Logan Hoffman was a guy that was drafted from Munster.
Swing and a miss. Luis Diaz, with his back against the wall, 3 right behind him, does what he does best. Thank you, Ottawa University, for Luis Diaz.
I think you're right on that uniform.
Well, we finally arrived. A little bit of turbulence on our way to the bottom of the first, at least on the Mavericks end. For the Berries, it's cruise control once more. They've done it 2 days in a row in the top of the first. A combined 16 runs scored in that inning and 5 home runs over a 2-game span. Can't say I've seen a lot of that. And if there were a team that I would pick to do something like that, it would be the Berries. Here's Matt Whitney on the mound. Speaking of a guy who I expect to do well today, it is Matt Whitney. He has done that all season long, an ERA in the 2s. And a veteran in this league, was a 2023 All-Star with the Fort Mac Giants. A team who struggled mightily throughout all of last season, but he was their one bright spot as he finds himself in Saskatoon now.
Fallen behind 3-0 on to Freeman.
That one is going to hit. Yeah, long swinging lefty is Whitney. And Freeman is going to pummel this one over to left field. Did the same thing yesterday. He is a double machine. Jeffrey into second base. And ever since he doubled up the number 4 on his back, that's all he's done on the field as well.
That's what the Mavs need to get started. He did that same thing last night.
Deja vu.
Yeah.
And while Babiak makes his way to the plate, let's give Matt Whitney his due and throw this graphic up on the screen. 3 wins on the season, a 2.77 ERA with 17 strikeouts. He is all that and more as a pitcher. And he faces another former Fort Mac Giant. Some would say this is a giant matchup as Babs is going to hit this one over to left field and it's going to be caught, but he was all over the first pitch. Tyler Vanesti, the lefty, up to bat now. Lots of green grass out there for him to navigate. He got left on third in this inning yesterday after a leadoff double from Freeman. Freeman, of course, advanced to third off a Yuzawa ground out in that top of the first, so a little bit of a different story here. Venesti won't challenge. Whitney, not a small figure on the mound either.
No, big, tall lefty.
I wouldn't say he's at all like Chris Sale, who we compare most lefties to. Sale's more from the side. Whitney's coming right over top. Wayne, if you can think of a comparison later in the game for him, I'd be interested to hear who you could come up with. It's going to land for another ball. Not a lot in the strike zone for Whitney. It's the same thing we saw with Roberts.
Yeah, 3-0. Again, he was 3-0 on Freeman. Venesti's looking for a fastball on the middle in half. He can turn on it.
He's going to take a strike there.
Shortstop for the Berries is playing on the second base side of the infield, and he's standing on the grass.
That's as Joe Carnahan as it gets, reading the scouting report, knowing the player that Venesti is. I mean, he's coached against him for a couple of years now, as Venesti's going to work himself a walk. They tried to get him near the hands. So 2 batters on for the Mavericks with just 1 out. Johnny Volcano coming to the plate. Volcano waiting for a sign from the dugout.
Matt Whitney reminds me of Bill Lee, the left-handed pitcher that used to be with the Montreal Expos.
Wow, that is before my time. I don't know who that is, but if you do know who that is out there.
Pitched for the Boston Red Sox. Spaceman, they called him the Spaceman Bill Lee.
He couldn't have been that good. He pitched for the Red Sox.
You being such a Yankees diehard. Well, let's see what Johnny Volcano can pull out of his bat.
We talk about bias sometimes on this broadcast. The only bias you will get from me is in the Yankee department. Nothing further. Volcano, a swing and a miss. Whitney will hang around. An important spot for Volcano. If he can get Venesti on the move, maybe get Freeman in here with how good his speed is. Anything in the green grass gives Freeman a good chance. There's a strike to Johnny.
Yeah, if it's hit to the left or right of any of the outfielders, Freeman will score.
Nate King on deck. Volcano way out in front of that one. Nice off-speed pitch there from Whitney. It's his first K of the day. Mavericks in a similar situation that they were yesterday. Threatening to leave runners on after giving up lots the inning prior. And this is your chance to get back into it. You don't want to waste opportunities because you know on the defensive end, you really can't give up anything. Scanning around is Whitney. This one is hit high by King. It's got some legs, and it has got the distance into the back berm. A 3-run jack for Nate King, and that puts the Mavericks right back in this one.
Wow, we needed that, didn't we?
The King has reached the throne as Nate goes deep. And yeah, you talk about major moments. Just the 1 run yesterday, Wayne. You're already down in this one, needing that spark. Talked about sparks yesterday after we mentioned James Tubbs' article where he highlighted plenty of sparks against Regina, and that may be it against the Berries. Win or lose, it's better than what we've been seeing.
Yeah, that That ball was tattooed from King, and it certainly wasn't wind-aided. The wind is blowing in from left field now.
Adam Volcano comes to the plate. He had a long shot a couple days ago, and this one is going to go over to short. It is gathered. Nathan Houston not there today, but it's still made over at first. And so the Mavericks, that will do it for their bottom of the first, but 3 runs on the board, a good punch back after the Berries served up a nice slice of pie prior. 7 runs, and we'll see if the offense continues to roll in inning number 2. And up to start off the top of the second against Luis Diaz is Evan Janner. Janner steps in on that right-hand side and gets ready to go here. First pitch from Diaz is a strike.
Boy, Janner had himself a game last night, didn't he? A couple of home runs, 4 RBIs.
Flailing catch there from King. Count is going to be 1-1. And I watched at the end of that, after Janner took that pitch, he looked right behind him and pointed in a swerving action to indicate that Diaz is going with lots of off speed. He will carry the out himself at first. And me and Wayne were chatting off air, and this is fitting. We said, well, in the Mavericks case, at least Luis Diaz is on the mound. And Wayne brought up the point, well, he won't be fielding. Well, on that play, he does. So he does have a chunk of it now. Diaz right back to work. Ooh, a hard swing and a miss. That off speed has given the Berries fits.
Oh, good curveball. Good curveball from Diaz. That's where Roberts was trying to get it, and he just didn't have it today. Not that he didn't try. It just wasn't there.
Waters going to hit this one up in the air. Long way to go for Volcano. And it's going to be out of his reach and into the tarp. Dvorak, pardon me. I'm so used to one of the two Volcanos being out there. Dvorak in right today. He's usually in left. Uzawa over there.
That sun gave Dvorak problems, didn't it? He looked up and tried to shield himself, and he slowed down. It might have been a catchable ball. It landed right by the tarp.
Diaz, swing and a miss. Throw down to first, didn't need it. And Luis, a strikeout. And a take it over to first base himself out. Now he'll see Jalen Freeman.
Dvorak and Volcano are talking about the sun. Volcano at first base.
This one is hit over towards first and a bouncer right over the glove of Blake Dale. A tough play as Freeman gets on. First hit of the day given up by Luis Diaz. Freeman on first. He's got good speed. And talk about that sun, Wayne. I asked not Adam Volcano, but Aaron Volcano, who we saw at first, if they're game planning for that ahead of time, because it is one of those intricacies that Athletic Park has. And he said him and Tyler Venesti, who regularly plays third, were practicing that a lot ahead of his last game at first. Here's Diaz. There's a strike.
The sun is terrible for the first baseman at a night game. Today, it's really tough on anybody on the right side of the infield.
Going to throw back over to first. And that's a strategy that both teams can use. Maybe that runner can lead off a little more, cause a little chaos, because that throw isn't going to be easy to make. It's not going to be easy to catch for the first baseman either. This one's going to be fouled aside, so Diaz ahead 0-2.
Yeah, on a day like today, it's the balls in the air. None of the thrown balls are going to have a difficulty with the sun. It's any of the fly balls or pop-ups to the infield.
Oh, that one's going to miss. Freeman back over to first. He got a quick jump there, and he had a large jump, so it was tough for him to get back.
He was reading ball in the dirt, but King caught it and made a good play just to catch it, and then a snap throw to first. Not in time. There he goes.
Gonna go, and a swing and a miss from Diaz. That will do it for the top of the second. Luis Diaz has come in, and he has mowed down Barrie's batters. And can the Mavericks get something in the green grass and mow in a few runs of their own? Blake Dale is up here in the bottom of the second inning after the Mavs don't allow any runs to come in the second. They followed that suit yesterday as well, but they're going to need some run support of their own. Got a couple more runs than they got early on yesterday, but they got to continue to stick to that pattern. Blake Dale had a good game yesterday. Been out of the lineup for a bit, but he was hitting the ball hard and hitting it well. Blake's going to pop this one up.
That'll be tough with the sun.
And it is tough. A long run in there from first base, and the play is made.
Well, with the Mavericks being able to close it to 4 runs, we were talking off air about it does allow the Mavericks now to play their type of game, the short game, the bunt and run, the sack bunt, the steal. You can't do that when you're down 7 or 9-0. So now they have the options open to them again.
And it's kind of upsetting, I guess, that I guess this is just for us. This is a little bit biased, but that we won't get to see the Berries dynamic base running. If this game gets a little closer, maybe we will. But it would be nice to have that action on display because the stats suggest that they are unbelievable.
Well, and it's open to them now too, because they're not going to feel comfortable with a 4-run lead. If they get base runners, they're gonna put their wheels in motion.
Uzawa didn't even flinch on that one as Whitney blows it past him. And there's out number 2. So Whitney following in the footsteps of Diaz with his play on the mound. It has continued to roll up on an upward trajectory. So Dvorak coming in, batting last in the lineup again. For those who are unaware of why Dvorak is batting last, well, we're unaware of it as well, but we know he's really, really good. And he's batted well in the last spot, so, well, why change anything? Certainly not your typical 9-hole hitter.
We see a lot of teams now have a very good hitter at the bottom of the lineup, and he's kind of like a secret weapon down there. He's a second leadoff hitter and allows the top of the order to have somebody on base when they come up.
Count is 2-0. Whitney's going to miss again, so control's still a bit of an issue. Whitney will doctor up the ball here. Get set on the mound.
Legally or illegally, doctor?
Wayne, it was just to infer that he was moving his hands between the ball.
Yeah,
I'm not accusing Whitney of anything. He's that good, he doesn't need to doctor up the ball.
No.
Dvorak over to first. Whitney wasn't a fan of that call either. He shrugged at the very end. I'm not sure if it was a mix-up between him and his catcher or if he didn't like what the umpire had come to a conclusion with. Jeremy Freeman's up to bat with 2 outs.
And that's exactly what you were saying about Dvorak. He gets on base, and now you got Freeman up.
Freeman.
Who's had 3 doubles in the last 2 days.
And I'm sure, although yesterday's game, it would have ended in a Berries win regardless. But he had a chance to drive in some runs yesterday, and I believe he struck out. And it was the one time when he really didn't hit a double. Ooh, that one was awfully close. Whitney doesn't get the call. It'll be 1-1. Many felt as though Whitney could have been the pitcher of the year last year. Colton Anderson came in and grabbed it from him at the last moment. Here's the play over to first. An underhand toss. Freeman made it a foot race, and Whitney's going to get the out. Good hustle from Freeman regardless, and it will be play like that will keep the Mavs in it. This time it doesn't fall their way. Berries still on top 7-3 as we reach inning number 3 when we come back for a quick word from Igniter Tickets. Luis Diaz back out again in the third. Nobody warming up. Here's a grounder over to Volcano. High hop as he sends it to his bro at first. And he gets the toe tap in there for out number one. Good for Diaz as he looks to keep the pitch count down. His first couple of matchups with the bases loaded reached a bit further, but plays like that will keep him alive in this game for longer. Ethan Menard coming up. Menard is a machine. We saw him in the playoffs last year, and he really came to life. But this year, he looks like a whole different animal. That pitch is going to be low from Diaz. It's interesting. A lot of players that were on that playoff team last year aren't back in the lineup this year. You think about a player like McGuire Turner, who was quite a threat. He's no longer here. This one's going to be popped up in the air.
I don't know if that's a
losing
pop-up.
track. This one might go again. My goodness. I mean, Ethan Menard put this guy in the home run derby. It looks like a derby out there right now for him as he is in one. This is remarkable.
Yeah, I didn't think that was a pop-up. That thing kept going. He hits that ball so high. You kind of think that it's not going to go that far, but then it just keeps carrying. That's his third RBI of the day, his second home run.
And Diaz doesn't give up a lot of home runs either. I'm not sure how you get around that guy. You might have to give him the Bonds Judge treatment here and intentionally walk him. And yes, for you guys questioning, I did just throw Judge in that treatment. They did it to him all last year. Diaz ahead in this count here, 0-2. It's going to be fouled aside. And it's Abiam Medina up to bat. Medina has a home run in this park over to left center field. That was not a part of yesterday's game. Although he might have hit one out yesterday too. He might have two in this building. And Medina down here, so that won't be the game plan this time. Now up to the plate is Ethan Murdoch for part two of what was a great joust the first time. Diaz, and Murdoch's going to foul that one off his foot. And he does have a guard there to protect him, and that one still stung him. Looks like it might have been right on the top of the toe.
Yeah, he does have something over the top of his arch as well. And you can see that even though it hits, it still hurts, but it doesn't have that long duration of pain.
This one along the ground, in and out of the glove of Diaz. He's going to have to work quickly. Back to first, and I believe that one hit Murdoch in the back. That was going to be a tough play for Luis. It spun off of his glove, and then he lost where it was.
They're giving Medina an error on that.
So Mason Rell at the plate. We've been informed that it is Rell. I believe you talked to Joe Carnahan.
Yes. He told me it's Rell, just spelled R-E-L-L.
Luis Diaz will gather on the mound. 1 on, 2 outs. This one is going to be poked over the head of Dale by a long ways. It's going to be cut off, and what a play from Dvorak. He could have missed that easily, and getting his glove out in time. Nonetheless, it's a double for Rell.
Yeah, if that ball gets by Dvorak, there's going to be a runner scored and another runner on third base.
There's a conversation there between King and Richards, the first base umpire. Not sure what was said, maybe just some clarification. So So Diaz works now with 2 in scoring position. We've seen him get out of a jam before. Can he go back to it once more as the Mavs trail by 5 and really can't allow any more? That one's going to miss. Count is 1-0. Thinking about swinging there was Janner.
Beautiful day at the It's beautiful day at the ballpark. Sunny, warm, great crowd.
It's a sharp swing there from Janner as he misses. Diaz is always ready. He's always waiting on the batter, chomping at the bit. Here comes the throw, and it is knocked down by King. Good play by the runner over at third to stay put as well. I think he lost sight of it and thought about maybe coming in.
Yeah, if you don't know where the ball is, you're better to stay where you are.
2-2 count, 2 outs, 2 on. Diaz needs 1 more to exit the inning. Here comes the throw. And that one is going to miss.
Diaz wanted that call too. He started to take a step towards the dugout.
Full count. Into the glove is Diaz. Long stare down here with Janner. Here it comes. It's going to be grounded over to first. Good play by Volcano. That one had him bending all the way down. Hits the bag, and Diaz survives once again. And he's going to keep this game closer than it could have been. 2 runners left in scoring position. And let's take a look at tonight's head-to-head between these 2 teams. You saw the graphic last night. You see the changes that have now been made. The Berries, the top team in the WCBL in runs scored for the first time this year. It is not the Medicine Hat Mavericks. 207 to 206. And of course, with the score on the board right now, that lead has only been extended. They are 3-1 against the Mavericks this year. The Mavericks with just 1 win. It was here at home last week. And the Berries also the first team to 20 wins. 20-3. That's got to be one of the better starts to a campaign that WCBL history has seen. They are unbeatable at the moment, and they look to get another win today as we send you off to commercial break, and we'll be back with Matt Whitney on the mound.
We need to get something going right now, Mavs. Babia coming to the plate. Perfect guy to lead us off.
Babiuk flew out to left in his first plate appearance. He's going to take that one for a strike. Bit further outside for Whitney. Now Whitney can pitch a lot of innings. He had a complete game last year. So if he stays on this sort of tempo, he'll be out there for a while. Babiuk going to go to the same spot that he did before. Freeman lost sight of it, and that one going to go into foul territory, but it is caught by Jalen Freeman.
Yeah, a little bit of wind, a little bit of sun. Problems out there in left field, but he makes the catch.
Tyler Vanesti comes up to bat with 1 out. Just 2 hits on the board for the Mavs, as opposed to the 9 for the Berries. That's what the Berries do. They hit any team well. And Wayne was asking me if their home record is perfect this year, which it is, 15-0. What does their road record look like? Or sorry, not 15-0 at home. They would be 13-0. But what does their road record look like? Well, they're 7-3. So if you're winning 7 out of every 10 times on the road, that is a recipe for success, and that they are having. There's another out to Tyler Vanesti. Time it was on the ground. Johnny Volcano will come up. Volcano struck out in his first at-bat.
Yeah, it's a 4-pitch inning so far for Whitney. 2 outs.
That one says his catcher into the splits, and then that ball almost sent Whitney into them. It'll climb all the way back to his second baseman. Whitney back in now. Counts 1-0. Nate King with the homer in this game waiting on deck. Volcano takes a strike there. This one's going to be hit hard, but Freeman is going to be under it, and that is a quick bottom of the third inning. We will be back in the top of the fourth with a special guest here on the broadcast, so stay tuned. Top of the fourth inning here at Athletic Park. Mavs trailing by 5, and we have a very special guest in the broadcast booth with us today. Shanoa, introduce yourself and introduce what you do here for the Medicine Hat Mavericks.
Yeah, hi, my name is Shanoa. I'm the bar manager here at Athletic Park, and yeah, I'm super excited that I have the opportunity to talk and meet a lot of people, new and returning faces here at the park.
So, Shanoa, your job has lots of creative freedom in being the bar manager, and you get the chance to do a lot of cool things here at Athletic Park. It's a strike from Luis Diaz. Take me through some of those things that you've been able to do throughout the years and what people can expect when they come to the game and come to the bar.
Like returning years, I've done lots of featured drinks. A lot of our theme nights influence what I do, and then sometimes our opposing teams that we're playing on certain days also gives me really great ideas for our featured drinks. Today we're playing the Berries, so I have a drink tonight that I have brought back from last year. It's the Saskatoon Strikeout. It's been very popular today and last year. And yeah, it's really great to reach out to my community and find local products to use for my drinks. It's a Saskatoon berry lemonade today.
Oh, that sounds good. Now, us up here. You'll have to be ready for what the featured drink is. And Shanoa, we might have to keep you up here for the rest of the game. Luis Diaz is looking real good on the mound. There's already 2 outs in this inning, so you might just be our good luck charm in this case. I was going to ask you about the special drink for the berries, and you've already talked about it. But how did your journey start to becoming one of the Mavs members and one of the featured workers here over the last couple of years?
So I feel like my journey here is probably not typical like other people.
This one going to be hit over to right field, and Dvorak is going to send it to second, and so they'll be on second here and in scoring position for the Berries.
Awesome. Yeah, so I've had lots of my employees, be part of the concession and work their way up to bar. For myself, I really kind of started as an outsider. I know nothing about baseball. I'm not very sporty whatsoever. But I have lots of experience in the service industry. I started out, doing some volunteering for the team here and there, and started serving and worked my way up to managing at the bar. So I'm happy that I have the opportunity to contribute to the team and the business in a way that's meaningful to me.
And with your time within the business and with the team, are there any cool experiences that highlight your work here or stand out to you as that was really fun to do, or this was a really fun group of people to meet?
Yeah, so I guess even in my experience serving here and helping out the girls, whatever.
Here at all?
Maybe a touch, I like going out and watching baseball in person, but I'm still, when I'm looking at things and I see what they call it, I always have to look at the scoreboard to make sure I know, what I thought it was right and whatnot. But yeah,
Well,
I
you
feel
do
like
know
I've
who?
learned a little.
Yeah, I think so. Shanoa knows about 3 players consistently. A Babe Ruth always near the top of that list. Derek Jeter, because I've brainwashed her with my Yankee propaganda. And there was a player for the Jays who is one of your favorites,
Oh,
Minori
Munenori
Kawasaki.
Kawasaki, yeah.
And why do you like Minori?
And he just seems like a very outgoing person and the kind of person that I'd probably like, want to have a conversation with.
And you're very outgoing yourself, Shanoa. In being in the service industry and seeing lots of different customers and not knowing maybe how their days are going, how important is it to come in with a positive attitude that you have so often?
I mean, I think it means the world, genuinely. Like, the serve industry is definitely for people who enjoy talking to people, enjoy being out there. I guess for myself as well, like I'm in school for linguistics, so I always tell everyone it's a really expensive way to say that I love talking. I learn, how language works. And so I try and make things a little funny, but I've always been super outgoing and, building relationships with your customers, knowing what they like, building friendships is like an integral part of serving and being in the industry, really.
For sure. Well, we appreciate you talking with us here today and serving us up a scoop of what's happening down below and what people can expect when they come to Athletic Park. Once again, thank you to Shanoa for coming on for a short interview, and be sure to say hi to her next time you come to
Awesome.
Athletic Park.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Around here, there was a play that just happened that I wish we could show you back. It was a deep drive again by Nate King, almost his second homer of the game, as it was bouncing off the wall and it was thrown into second, but King there now, so no play on it. And now up to the plate is Adam Volcano. Chance for the Mavs to get a run back here, make the lead exactly 4. Throw from Whitney, swing and a miss by Volcano. And once again, big thank you to Shanoa for coming on. And as you guys have known as listeners, we'll have guests like that on all year long. We hope to get Greg Morrison up here at some point. Greg, I know you're listening. We want you to come up here. And who knows, maybe some parents out there. We're always willing to talk to anybody who's comfortable with being on air and sharing their story, helping us share what's going on in this game, of course.
Well, I was just checking while you were talking with Shanoa, Morrison's team. Greg Morrison is the owner of the Mavs. He coaches a 13U team. They're up in Edmonton, and they're winning in their tournament today.
Are they playing at Henry Singer Ballpark, which we took about an inning and a half to figure out the name of yesterday?
Henry Langfield.
Oh, Henry Lang. Yeah, Langfield. Whitney having a quick conversation with the umpire here. Looked like he was just checking on him more so. Count is 1-2, nobody out, and a good leadoff hit from King. If the Mavs are going to put up a big number, this is how it starts, with a extra base hit.
Yeah, you got 3 chances to drive him in.
Volcano. Couple wiggles with the bat here. Here comes the throw from Whitney. It's going to go out of the glove. King thought about going, and getting just enough of it behind the plate was Menard. And
yeah,
with that, King can't go to third.
Yeah, good decision by King not to go, because if he gets thrown out, now you don't have anybody in scoring position. If you're going to go to third, you got to be there standing up.
Whitney. Standing tall, quick look over, here comes the throw. Swing and a miss and a strikeout to Adam Volcano. So to bring up Blake Dale with 1 out. The rally on pause for now for the Mavs. Can Dale reignite it? While we wait on Dale to get in, let's take a look at what's going on around the WCBL. Over in Lethbridge, a West Division matchup between the Bulls and the Okotoks Dogs. Dogs up 5-0 in the top of the 5th. So they're quite ahead of us here at Athletic Park. Both games started at 2:05, I believe. Here's the throw from Whitney. That one going to be a bouncer, and this time King will go down to third, sliding in, no throw his way, and another run inches its way closer to home plate. Makes the job for Dale a little bit easier. A sac fly will do. And over in Brooks today, the Bombers currently losing 3-2 to the Weyburn Beavers in the bottom of 4. That game also ahead of where we're at. A game that's at where we are at is Sylvan Lake and Swift Current, as this one's knocked over into center field, and King will come in to score. He's getting a no home plate real well. Second time crossing through today, and Blake Dale with an RBI single. And back to what I was saying about Swift Current and Sylvan Lake. That game in Sylvan Lake, and the Gulls in a commanding spot so far. They're up 4-0. And as I mentioned, in the same inning as us over here. So already more runs given up by Whitney than he's used to giving up with that ERA around 2. Uzawa's going to swing and miss as he attacked him with the fastball. Dale over on first. He's got good speed, being held on there. Uzawa won't swing there, and he takes another strike. Not a good matchup for Uzawa here against Whitney. Not only is it a lefty on lefty, but Uzawa's struggling with seeing the ball out of his hand, it looks like. And a swing and a miss there. Back-to-back strikeouts. Dale down to first. He's in there. And so just 1 out on the play for the Berries. Micah Dvorak will come up to the plate now with Dale on. 2 players that Wayne got to know well at the start of the season here.
Yeah, Micah is an interesting character. He's loves baseball.
Micah will climb back into the batter's box here. 2 outs. Whitney looking to get another and make sure that Dale doesn't cross. Mavs looking to make this game closer and closer. It's got a different feeling from yesterday's game, but that doesn't mean anything. The Berries are still a real good team, and they can put up 7 runs in an inning just as easy as they can go out. This is a slip here. Sliding in is Dale. They're going to get him, and it looked like he started his slide a little bit early, and it took him a while to get to that spot, and in turn, there was the out for the Berries. So we're through 4 innings now, and that means the 5th is upon us. But before we get there, let's talk about 2 catchers who have been mainstays for both teams this year. One in today's game, one played in yesterday's. Nate King, who has 9 hits on the year, and I guess we can bump that number up to 11 now, as he has a home run and a double in this game so far. Has 8 runs batted in before this game and was batting .273. All of those numbers will now be inflated. Balin Sorensen's numbers will stay the same as he's not playing in this game. 23 hits, 15 runs batted in, and a .280 average. So they're around the same area with a lot of their stats. Sorensen's played more games, so the hitting stats, or the hits at least, a bit higher. But both teams putting lots of faith in these 2 players, and I'm sure they'll be talked about a lot more as the season goes on, and if these 2 teams see each other later on in the postseason. We'll be right back as Diaz gets warm again, and we'll get ready to go again. Ethan Menard, who has had a day for him as he hit one over the fence in his last plate appearance. He's back to face Diaz. He's the only one who's had Luis. Diaz gonna pitch that one low. I'm not sure what the strategy is here if you're Luis. Any words of advice, Wayne?
Well, I think you got to pitch in on him because his home runs go out to right field. So he gets his arms extended. He looks for a ball out over the plate. If you can pitch in on him, hopefully he can't turn on it and hit it over the left field wall.
They're not giving him anything to hit at the moment.
And you mentioned it before. Maybe that's the best strategy. Put him on first base.
This one is hit hard under the glove of Volcano and into left field. He was ready to swing there. Most players are going to take that pitch, but Menard doesn't want to take any chances getting into a deep count against Diaz. So 1 on. Feels like the first time that Diaz has allowed the first batter on. He's been flushing through outs here. We'll see if he can get an out with Medina at the plate. Here comes the throw. That one going to sail high into the glove of King. Nobody warming up behind Diaz. Nobody warming up behind Whitney on the other side for the Berries either. Ball game 8-4. 1 on. 1 ball here between Diaz and Medina. Time that one's going to hit for a strike. Menard not the fastest player, so you won't expect him to steal here.
Menard has 7 hits in these 2 games so far.
Diaz couldn't get that one in the same spot as the last, so Medina will hold off this time. Rolls for a ball.
And 4 home runs? Yeah, 4 home runs. He's having a season this weekend.
Yeah, that's more home runs than many players will have in a full year. And you think back to the 2023 Mavs, that would be more home runs than their whole team had that season. They played small ball to perfection that year, and it resulted in them going to the finals, so it obviously worked. Here comes the throw from Diaz, a foul off by Medina. That ball bounced high, then bounced down low towards the ground level area. It is eventually picked up by a fan. 2-2 count. Waiting on deck is Murdoch. And
there goes Menard.
Menard's going to go. This one's going to be just one out at first. And a good time to run for Menard. That would have been a double play elsewhere.
You could tell the pitch before he was doing the same thing. He was shuffling off. And Diaz didn't throw over there. And I think he's smart enough, Menard's smart enough to say, if he's not going to throw over here, I'm going to take off.
Well, Menard's got to have the league lead in home runs now. I'm not sure who's close to him. It was a battle near the top. Trevor Dale of Weyburn was in the mix. Jackson Yeager was there to start the year. Lots of players with 6 or 5 home runs. But I believe Menard has surpassed all. Throw from Diaz is spiked aside. Guess we'll get an official word on who is indeed leading the home runs prior to this game being completed. Diaz ahead in the count here. I'm going to go in between the legs of King and then in between the legs of Murdoch. Menard will stay put. And Wilmer Enriquez of Swift Current tied for the league lead with Trevor Dale in home runs as it stands now. But I would assume that Murdoch has got more than 6. Here's a throw near Murdoch. It goes off the top of the glove. King misplaces it again. That's twice in a row. And over to third base is Ethan Menard. Now an easier path to score Menard here for Murdoch.
Well, Menard had 1 home run.
He only had 1 home run. Wow.
Coming into yesterday's game, and now he's got 5.
Corners
Corners are playing in for the Mavs. They'll cut down the run.
Would have expected him to have had more. There's a good pitch from Diaz. Count will get to be full.
Yeah, he's making our fence look short.
Murdoch staying alive with that swing. Switching up of balls here as the umpire grabs a new set. Here's the throw from Diaz. This one is put through, and Menard walking around to score. So an RBI single for Ethan Murdoch. Diaz has given up 2 runs in his 4 innings pitched. I guess just over 4 innings because he pitched in the first as well. Mason Rell at the plate. Mavs looking for a double play here as they now trail again by 5. So that run last inning didn't do a whole lot. Ball misses.
Oh, good block.
King needed that one. He missed on the last 2, and a good diving play to stop that. Pitch is going to miss from Diaz. This one's going to hit off of Diaz, and
right off the arm.
He is sore.
Went right off his forearm. That one stung.
Diaz hops back up. JT is going to hop over the mound, and that would have been a double play if that doesn't hit him. That ball was smoked, and they would have been in position to get two.
Yeah, it was hit really hard.
It's not the outcome that the Mavs wanted. They don't get a bounce there, and they haven't gotten a couple bounces in this inning specifically. That one going in and out of Diaz's glove. Or excuse me, that one was in the last. But I think regardless of bounces, the Berries have played good enough to have earned those bounces.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, even a play like this, they hit the ball hard, and, you know, that's part of the game is hitting the ball hard, and then whatever happens, happens. Certainly a hit for Rel.
Here's Evan Janner. Diaz stays on the mound. Here comes the throw. Janner won't flinch.
I'm not sure how much more Luis has in his tank. He's been giving it everything out there.
Yeah, and he's pitched recently as well. He's almost thrown a full game in the last 4 days here.
Yeah.
Diaz looks over, will step off. He was distracted by Murdoch's chaos. Count remains 1-1. Just the one out. Mavs would love to get a double play cashed in here. There's a strike for Diaz. (13-3) are the hits in this game. That tells you the gap that is between these two teams. Fouled aside by Janner, staying alive. That one was higher.
Berries have no idea about slowing down at all because they're put the runners in motion on a 1-2 count in a double steal situation.
Janner won't go there as ball dips low. And I think if you're the Berries, and JT, I know he will respect this too, they're not going to take it easy all game long. They're going to try and score 40 runs if they want. And
there they go.
JT won't complain on the other end, and they got him. Not sure if it was because Murdoch slipped off the bag or if they got him initially, but Babiak does either way.
Yeah, good he kept a tag on him all the way through this completion of the slide. So I don't think he was out right away. I think he came off and Babiak kept a tag on him.
And no argument there from Murdoch. He knew that he missed it.
I believe it's full count.
And Diaz is signaling that as well.
Yeah.
We have full count on ours.
The umpire said full count. Yeah, there it's up on the board now. So the runner at first, Rel, will be off. There it is.
And strike three looking. Shaking his head is Janner, and Diaz dices once again. That might be it for him, but a real solid day for Luis. Gives up 2 runs, and he's kept the Mavs alive. He has not let the game get away from Medicine Hat. And we will be back after a short word from Igniter Tickets.
top of the order.
Jeremy Freeman Jr., that is. Matt Whitney still on the mound. A little bit of stretching going down in Barry's territory. So I'm not sure that we'll see a pitcher come in behind him in this inning, but maybe the next. Here's the throw to Freeman. It's going to hit for a strike. Freeman has not had a chance to steal a lot of bases this weekend. The last 4 days he hasn't. It's not that he's not getting on, it's that he's getting doubles and the runners behind, or the batters behind him, haven't allowed him to consider it.
Plus, when you're down big in the score, 9-0, 7-0, you're not going to take a chance of stealing.
He's going to miss here. So the count is 3-1. Maybe Freeman's going to have a chance now. We'll see if the defense switches up when he gets on, if they're going to hold him on. Freeman, a swing and a miss. That one wasn't close. I'm sure he'd like to have it back.
Yeah, that was ball 4.
This feels like one where Whitney might go with the hands here. Here it comes. Freeman's going to put this one towards short, and it's off an ankle, and Freeman will be on first. A little bit of luck goes the Mavs' way here. We talked about that prior, how they weren't getting any bounces, and that certainly won.
That ball seemed to come up on the shortstop, but he's being credited with an error. That ball was hit hard.
That was Nomar Prito over there. Jaden Babiak comes to the plate. Mavs can get a couple of on without anybody going out. Could set up well with players like Vanesti coming to the plate.
Well, I think Babiak could put down a bunt here. The third baseman's playing
This
way
one's
back.
going to get away, so there goes Freeman over to second base. Freeman had a sizable lead as well. And Menard, who's often at first, lets that one get by. His first mistake of this game, and that's on both sides.
Yeah, that was a catchable ball. So now at least what Babiak has to do is get Freeman over to third base. He's got to be able to pull the ball. Freeman's indicating where the ball is going to go, and he hits it there.
But not able to pull the trigger at short was Prito. And so Babs is over to first. Freeman is over on third. And the Mavericks have something cooking with Tyler Vanesti coming up. This is the spot that you want for your star.
Good job by Babiak. Freeman was indicated that the pitch was going to be outside, and it was there, and Babiak just hit it in the hole. So Babiak's on with a single.
Vanesti going to wait. Menard gets that one. Bend down to keep it from going behind him.
So, heart of the order up. Mavs have something going.
Something going in the Barry's bullpen as well. There's a strike to Vanesti. Looks like Dallin Rood is down there.
There's two guys warming up.
And the second guy on the farthest right side is Travis Phelps. Vanesti, hard hit ball. It's going to bounce into right field. Freeman will trot in to score. Babiak on his way over to third. He is there without a sweat. And Tyler Vanesti with an RBI to his name. I don't believe that one will be called an error with the bounce that it took.
That should be a hit, and it is a hit.
So now 2 on for Johnny Volcano and nobody out. It's a 4-run ball game. And Joe Carnahan will chat here with Matt Whitney, and it looks like they have a guy ready on the other side. So we'll see if this is the end of Matthew Whitney's day, and if it is, it's not how it started. He was cruising along after that first inning. Back-to-back innings, not allowing a run, but things have gotten a little shakier here in the back half of his start.
Yeah, I don't think they got anybody ready to come in yet. They just, both pitchers just went down there to start warming up. So Carnahan is looking down to the bullpen. I think he wants them to get ready. So big opportunity for the Mavs and Johnny Volcano. Johnny hasn't had a good series so far, but he's due.
I was going to say, are the famous words
He's
about
due.
to come out of your mouth? Volcano, a slow roller down to first, tap on the bag. They're not going to get Venesti as he's over to second. And Volcano, not happy with that play there. But he does get both runners into scoring position, so there is a little bit of a silver lining within a play like that.
Yeah, his job was to get the ball to the outfield. You want to get that RBI, get that sixth run in.
And here's a red-hot hitter. Maybe not as hot as Ethan Menard, but he's had himself a day. Nate King with a home run and a double already. A double here would make this a two-run ball game. Down low, Menard gets a glove on it.
Yeah, stay hot, Nate.
Whitney with that long lean over. And this one is going to be foul. That second bounce a little bit too far left. So it'll be a 1-1 count. Here's one in the dirt. Good job by Menard.
Infield is playing back. They're going to let a run score for an out. The risk of playing your infield in to cut down the runner at third is that the ball gets on you very quickly. And if it goes by you, both runs are going to score because the runner at second base is going to get a big lead.
King gonna send this one over towards second. A massive hop. Throw to first, and they get the out. That ball could have gone anywhere. I think it might have hit second base.
Yeah, I don't know what it hit. It all of a sudden bounced right to the second baseman. It was an easy play. It looked like it was going to go up the middle.
So King throws in another run here. It's now a 3-run ball game. And Adam Volcano, who's had a tough day, steps up at the plate. Probably could have erased most of that in his mind if he gets Venesti through and makes this a two-run ball game. Pitch is going to be low from Whitney. Volcano, pop up, should be playable. We know that sun's bad over there.
Second baseman's got her.
And he sure does, Wayne. That will do it. So Venesti stranded over at third. The Mavs get a pair in the bottom half of the fifth. And it is a 3-run ball game. So a little bit closer, but not getting the full squeeze at which they would have liked are the Mavericks. And starting off the top of the sixth is Corey Waters, and we'll start with a new pitcher on the mound as well. It is A.J. Dahl, recently committed to the University of North Dakota State. This one is high, lots of wind, having trouble seeing it over there as Dvorak locates it at the last second.
Wow.
Oh, a difficult play for Dvorak. He deserves his flowers on that one.
Yeah, we said you get up in the sky with this sun, it's really hard on the right side of the infield and outfield. And then with the wind blowing, we were actually thinking for a second it might be out of here.
Yeah, you never know on that right
No,
side. We have seen
you
some
don't.
things this weekend.
We're having nightmares about balls going over the field this weekend.
Here's Freeman at the plate. And as we were introducing A.J. Dahl, he pitched at Hutchinson Community College last year. And speaking of North Dakota State, spoiling it as I always do ahead of time, Universities and Communities segment is on North Dakota State because of Dahl's recent commitment. A strike there. Part of the reason how I found out that he'd committed there was all thanks to Max Hudlow, who made an awesome graphic for Dahl to announce it on social media. You can find all of Max's great stuff at Max Designed on Instagram. Freeman, a swing and a miss. Great work from AJ. Two down here. That'll bring to the plate Cooper Westland. So almost at the bottom of their order are the Berries. Dahl back on the mound here. His stats aren't as pretty as he probably would have liked in this early part of the season. He's got a 5.92 ERA. He's got one win and one loss on the year. This one a jam shot from Westland.
Boy, I like how he's attacking the strike zone. Doing the same thing as Diaz did, coming right in and keeping his pitches right around the plate.
18 strikeouts to 9 walks this year. Dahl's going to miss that time. A bouncer along the ground. Another one that's low for Dahl. Mavericks may never wear these uniforms again if they lose today. I'm not sure those black ones are coming out anytime soon either.
I like these uniforms.
You know, if you were to ask some people, they would say that it looks like Minecraft with the ever-changing color, but it reminds me of the Arizona Diamondbacks. They used to have a jersey in the lettering of D-backs that was similar to that kind of font and color combination. I had a Paul Goldschmidt Arizona Diamondback shirt when I was a kid, and that was the combo that was on there.
Well, they look light. They're a light uniform. They look like they'd be fun to wear in the summer heat.
Ooh. Hard shot is taken by Westland. Losing all control there was Dahl. So Dahl will have to see the last man in this batting order. And it will bring up to the plate for the Berries Nomar Prieto. Dahl's first time seeing Prieto. First time seeing most of these players here for the Berries.
Westland wants to run. Oh.
Yeah, he's getting giddy behind the play. No throw over from Dahl. I'm not sure he even looked over and saw him.
If he would have thrown over, he would have had him twice. Could have got a double play on the one steal. Westland's going to draw the throw.
And a low throw it was. That grass still getting a little yellow out there in the outfield. Jeff Morrison working hard on it, but we just haven't received any rain. We had that one 5-minute sprinkle yesterday, but that didn't do any damage. But I'm sure Jeff will be happy to know that all of next week there isn't going to be any ball here, at least on the Mavericks side of things, so the grass will get a chance to heal.
Yeah, they need to desperately water it.
Here's the throw from Dahl. It is high.
Well, Dahl needs to get back into the strike zone and get this out. What we don't want to do is a walk and then have the top of the order coming up again.
And you know who's at the very top? That's Ethan Menard. There's a strike from Dahl. Menard's gotten to 2 different pitchers today, so you can only expect that he's going to get to Dahl as well. There's a high one. Throw down to first. If that throw was a little bit deeper, maybe Volcano could have got the tag back in time.
Yeah, Volcano doesn't play first base a lot, and he was too close into home plate. He has to stay at the base to just catch the ball and put the tag down, not reach out and then try to come back and make the tag.
And that one's going to miss. Wayne, you talked about what the walk could do for the Berries. It's going to put 2 on for them and bring up Ethan Menard. Every time it feels like the Mavericks creep closer, the Berries do what good teams do, and they add more runs in support. Chance to do that with Ethan Menard heading to the plate.
Yeah, Menard's 4 for 4 today. 2 home runs.
Out of the University of Texas at Tyler. Westland still causing a disturbance behind the play. Dahl is going to hit for a strike. Seems like the sun has creeped behind a cloud here. Things getting a little bit darker. That isn't to say that the weather is going to get worse. It just might be a little less hot.
I'm sure the infielders and outfielders will like it.
1-1 here. Dahl still looking for that 3rd out in this inning. Here comes the throw. A big swing from Menard. It's a dangerous pitch. That's what Menard wants. It's the first time he hasn't gotten to it, that high heater.
Yeah, that pitch is up by the letters, and that's a pitch that you can't catch up to.
Menard couldn't catch up to that one either as he fouls it aside. You got to expect that eventually he is going to catch up to one of those if you're Dahl, so you got to play your cards accordingly.
Yeah, it's all about changing speeds and changing locations.
That one not able to catch.
That was a good call. It was low and outside. I know Dahl would like to have that.
Dahl gets the signal, collects. Menard waiting on it. Trouble behind him. Westland moving around a lot. Menard's going to send this one high. Wayne thinks that it's gone all the way to the wall. Another home run for Menard. This is unbelievable. He cannot miss. Was that his 3rd homer of the game?
You could tell right off the bat it had launch angle and it landed beyond the trees again.
And he has tied the league lead for home runs, and he entered the weekend with 1.
Is there any way we can trade for him? Get him here. He'd love to come here.
So Abiam Medina will come to the plate, but the performance from Ethan Menard today has been otherworldly. And I think about half of those baseballs that he's hit this weekend have been in another world.
Yeah, he's been a force for sure. You don't often get to see and appreciate a guy like that, what he's done over the last 2 days.
Here's one that's lifted over to left field. Uzawa will make the play on it. But that doesn't remove the damage that Ethan Menard has done today. Boy, is he a one-man band chugging through the Mavs pitchers and launching homers all over this park. He's loving it here. Well, it has been the Ethan Menard show throughout the last 2 days here at Athletic Park. Dale is going to take that one for a ball. And I got to say, we build graphics ahead of time for the stream. And I'm about to put up a graphic at some point in the next inning or so that is highlighting two players that did really well over the last 7 days. Ethan Menard is not on that graphic. He should be. We don't have a chance to go and correct that because we're obviously calling a ball game on the side. But just imagine there's an extra slide on the side that says Ethan Menard and shows his stats from this weekend. Because this has been unprecedented. And in 2 days, he's right in the MVP conversation.
Wow. Travis Phelps on the mound.
Dale's going to swing through that one and miss, so it's a full count. So Whitney's day's done. We'll have the line score here for you in a moment. But Phelps to work as of now. And the other pitcher that was warming up down there earlier in Dallin Rude, that wasn't very nice either, as hits Blake Dale and he's stung. JT will check on him.
That's usually something where you have to take the guy out because there could be a fracture. There's so many small bones in the hand.
Dale will head off to first regardless.
Yeah, he doesn't want to come out. He does get to play a lot, so I'm sure he's saying, no, don't take me out. Good for him.
So Dale over to first, and what I was saying about Dallin Root is he's now sat down, so he's no longer warming up. Phelps lets the first runner on. And Evan Morrison's going to come in to hit here. I believe Adam Volcano was batting behind Dale, so that's the replacement there. He'll be at first base. Correct me if I'm wrong, Wayne.
Yuzi Usawa.
Okay, Uzawa's there, so there'll be lots of shuffling defensively then. Morrison has played in the outfield before, but it's not his natural home. Morrison's going to take that one for a strike. Swing and miss there.
Evan seems to be pulling off the pitches.
And did he go? He did not. It was a close call.
I didn't think he went. I know the catcher is trying to persuade the umpire to make a call.
Another chance for Morrison here. And this one's going to be sent into right field.
Good for him. Stayed on it.
Base hit for Morrison. 2 on for the Mavs here. Good start to this bottom half of the 6th inning. And while Dvorak comes up to the plate, we will quickly show you our players of the week. Nathan Houston for the Berries, .474 average, 4 runs batted in, 9 hits. And Barry Eisman of the Okotoks Dogs with a .500 average, 4 runs batted in, 10 hits. An outfielder and an infielder named our broadcast players of the week. But Ethan Menard trumps all of that now. He has been named the official unanimous player of the week for the WCBL from our vantage point. Of course, there could be lots of good play happening out there in some of these other games. Of course, we highlighted Eisman, who's having a great week for the Dogs. Don't have an official update on how he's playing today, but the Dogs are up big in a game against Lethbridge. They're up 9-3. We're going to stay ahead of Menard. Dvorak up to bat. An RBI machine. Hasn't had a chance to drive in a lot of runs the last few days. This is his golden shot.
Yeah, just keep passing the baton. Get the top of the order. Freeman's on deck.
He's going to miss to Dvorak.
So great hitters count. And Dvorak, he'll take the walk. Bases loaded it would be then. But right now he's looking for something middle in that he can turn on.
Dvorak's going to send this one aside. Playable over at third base. And that play is going to be made. Micah not happy with himself.
Yeah, you don't want to be late on a pitch on a 2-0 count.
Jeremy Freeman Jr. comes up to bat, and I think we should mention the rest of the games happening in the league. Over in Brooks, it's 5-2 for the Weyburn Beavers in the top of 7. Bottom of 6 rather, in Sylvan Lake, and they lead 5-0. And of course, as we mentioned, Okotoks up big against Lethbridge, 9-3. That one is in the top of 7. Freeman's gonna wait. That one's called a strike.
Great curveball from Phelps. The line score for Matt Whitney, 5 innings, 6 runs, 5 hits, 3 walks, 4 strikeouts, and out of those 6 runs, 5 earned runs.
Freeman, that one almost hit him in the hands as it goes down towards the Berries dugout.
Yeah, that was right in on his fists.
Here comes the throw from Phelps. Ooh. And Menard thought about pulling the trigger and checking on Dale over at second base. High throw there from Phelps, and he's frustrated with himself. And I think it's important to note, outside of the first inning for the Mavs, they haven't actually played well, or they haven't actually played bad the rest of the way against the Berries, but it's that one blow-up inning that they were serving out to other teams throughout the year that has now started to bite them this weekend. Here's the throw from Phelps. That one tied up Freeman a bit, but he gets it fouled off.
Yeah, 2 bad starts in consecutive games, and The Mavs are in danger of losing 3 out of their 4 home games on this homestand.
Yeah, they couldn't lose at home, and now all they're doing is losing. That one knocked off by Freeman. They're going to throw down to second here, and they did get Morrison. Did they say safe, or did they
He's
say
safe.
got him?
He's safe.
Wow. So I'm wondering, did Freeman tip that? He's walking back to the dugout.
No, the umpire called a complete swing. He took off running, but the runners don't have to run on that. Blake Dale saw that the ball was in the dirt, and he took off. And the catcher, Menard, was smart enough to realize he couldn't get Dale, so he went for Morrison at second. But Morrison has a good speed, and he slid in safely.
And you would have had that play right in your backyard with the center field camera look of it. You'd probably be able to tell better than us if he was in there for sure. Here's Babiak with 2 in scoring position and 2 out as he fouls it aside. Big spot here for the Mavericks utility man. Babiak going to take another one for a strike. He's behind 0-2. Feels like if the Mavericks want any chance in this game, they got to get these 2 runs in. You're not going to be given a lot more opportunities. Here's the throw from Phelps. Babiak, a swing and a miss, and that will end the inning. 2 left in scoring position for the Mavericks. Not the way they wanted that to go. And for Phelps, didn't start off very well, but he completes it. And he keeps his team in front by a lot. And we talked about pitching a lot in this game, and we might as well talk about some starters for the Mavericks. We did a workhorses segment to start the season with a couple of their guys who shouldered the load starter-wise last year. And this year, despite Robert's stats not being updated after a tricky day here for him, these have been the 3 main starters for the Mavericks. Danny Retzlaff, 0-1 on the year. He's got a 3.93 ERA with 22 Ks. Had 9 strikeouts in his last start. Very impressive. Tyler Spruill, 0-0 on the year, 4.50 ERA, which is up from what it was before, hovering in the 3s. And he had 21 strikeouts on the year. Started on Friday in that crazy game against the Regina Red Sox, in which the Mavs came back to win. And Xander Roberts, as we said, not his best today, was 3-0 on the season. He'll be tagged with the loss in this one if the score continues to go this way. He had a 1.71 ERA with 14 Ks, and that ERA will look a lot different. He was top 5 in the league in ERA as well, and it's unfortunate, tough, especially from a human side of things, someone who's in their element, everything's working, and things just don't work out one day, and you're back to square one, it feels like. And an update on what the outfield looks like. Adam Volcano's been moved from first base to the outfield. Evan Morrison's over at first. The infield remains the same otherwise. And I believe Adams is over in right, so that means Micah's going to go to left. That is the look for the Mavericks on defense. A.J. Dahl back on the mound for another inning in this 7th. Some odd numbers. That ball is going to get by. It doesn't hit Murdoch.
Babiak fields it over to first base to Morrison. Morrison now on first base. Volcano out in right field. Dvorak moved to left field. Usaw was out of the game, so that's a first out. Roll coming to the plate. He's had himself a good game. 3 for 4. He has a 1 strikeout. As we said, a beautiful day, great crowd. A pitch off the end of the bat. And the fans like runs. There's been lots of runs. 18 of them so far. Good curveball from Dole. Truman, what are you seeing out there besides a few seagulls on the field and left?
Well, I'm seeing a lot of runs on the board
Yeah.
for the Berries. A lot of strong play on their neck of the woods. One's going to go out of Dahl's glove, and it seems like an unenergized Mavericks squad. After the win against Regina here, it seemed like their spirits were up. They even entered the first inning yesterday with a little bit of juice, regardless of the result, and it just doesn't seem like that's carried on, and I think fatigue might be the biggest factor in everything.
Well, the Berries came out swinging the bats, and our pitching just couldn't hold them in either the yesterday's game in the first inning or today's game in the first inning. And it's not for lack of effort. It's just that you got to tip your cap to the Berries. They came out swinging and they put up a ton of runs.
There's one that's going to sneak underneath the glove of Babiuk and into left field. A 1 on, 1 out.
That's the 15th hit for the Berries today.
That time around, it goes off the bat of Mason Rell. Be Evan Janner coming to the plate. We've talked about the speed of some of these games. This one is not in the speed department whatsoever. Just after 4 here, local time in Medicine Hat, Alberta. So we've already gone over 2 hours. We were getting some quick ones here the last few games. Yesterday's game was lightning fast despite the big run total from the Berries. One called a strike. Not sure if it was because of the swing or if it hit there for Dahl.
Yeah, I think it was a called strike.
Swing and a miss there for Janner. Been a little bit of hot and a little bit of cold for Dahl today, at least in his ability to hit the strike zone.
Yeah, he got 2 quick outs last inning, then hit a batter or walked a batter, and then, of course, Menard comes up and pops his 3rd home run of the day over the fence.
Janner, swing and a miss. There's out number 2 for Dahl. Still 1 on here for the Berries. Up at the plate is Corey Waters. Here's the throw from Dahl. That one's going to miss for strike 1.
Oh, okay.
Start on the opposite side.
Yeah, I put it up as a strike, but it's a ball.
We were seeing the same thing, I guess.
Yeah, but it's a ball.
One called a ball as well. Let's take a look at what the Mavericks' schedule looks like after this game ends. They will look to get back into the win column. They get an off day tomorrow, and then it's their longest road trip of the season, and they got a long one at the end of the season coming up as well, but this will be quite the task. Sylvan Lake for 2 games. We know they've been trending up the standings as of recent. And they had a real tough go of it there. They were 500 at one point, which you don't see a lot from the Gulls. Dahl laces in a strike. So it'll be Sylvan for 2, Fort Mac for 2 more, and then Energy City for the final 2. And then they'll get an off day on Monday the 7th. So lots of Mavericks action coming up. It'll be a different group of broadcast crews going through this. Having a tough time seeing it over in right field is Volcano. He will get it, and he will close the top half of the 7th. So the stretch is coming in between here, and you know what that means. It is time to talk about our community/university of the night, and I spoiled it earlier. It is North Dakota State, which as a North Dakota hockey fan, I wouldn't say they're bitter rivals, but, wrong North Dakota team. But anyways, this is where AJ Dahl is heading next year. It is located in Fargo, North Dakota. It was founded as North Dakota Agricultural College back in the day. And they were first named the Aggies before being changed to the Bison. And that was due to their football team's head coach wanting it to be called the Bisons. Total students enrolled just around 11,952 in total. And notable alumni. Their football program is huge. That is where they have churned out lots of their athletes. Carson Wentz, former Pro Bowler in the NFL and a Super Bowl champion with the Philadelphia Eagles, is the notable alumni for today. Trey Lance is there as well, but he's kind of a bust as an early first-round pick, so we decided to take Wentz instead.
His brother is a receiver with North Dakota State, and I think he might be getting drafted.
It wouldn't surprise me. When there's one athlete in the family, there's always more. And I got a tip about something, I guess, in this game yesterday. Carter Beck, we know what kind of baseball player he is. His brother is actually a lefty pitcher in high school right now. So it runs in the family, and maybe we'll see the younger Beck in this league at some point. And if he is the caliber of pitcher that Carter Beck is a hitter, teams are going to be fighting for his presence.
Well, North Dakota State, as you mentioned, hockey is a big deal there. Football, they have an indoor football stadium there that I think holds 20,000 or so, and they're phenomenal. They go to the national championship 3 out of 4 years, it seems.
Yeah, the Fargo Dome, the name of their football stadium.
So the Mavs running out of innings, running out of outs. 9 left to score 6 runs at least.
One thrown high to Tyler. It's 2-0 on the count. Fans have stuck around. It's a nice day on a Sunday, of course, so not a lot to do. This one into the air. It's going to be playable over in left for Jalen Freeman, and he makes that play. One down here for the Mavs. Johnny Volcano will come to the plate, and that's something he's experienced a lot today, is going out like we saw from Vanesti. His rhythm is not there at the moment. We expect that it will return, knowing the type of player and competitor that Johnny is.
Yeah, he just seems to be very anxious to get swinging the bat, and I think if he's a little bit more patient, it'll work to his advantage.
Volcano didn't go on that one, so patience off of the first offering from Phelps. Nobody warming up behind Phelps. Nobody warming up behind Dahl either. Volcano. Grounder to the position. He plays it short, and a low throw over to first that threw the first baseman on his bottom. A bit of a difficult play there for Waters, who was down. So Nate King, who, if there is a player of the game today, aside from Luis Diaz, position-wise, I think it's been Nate King with the homer and the double.
Yeah, he'd be the Mavericks player of the game so far. He and Luis Diaz, I think they really played hard today and gave it everything they had.
I wonder who it would be for the Berries. I'm not sure who we've mentioned many times today. All right, that'd be Ethan Menard.
Yeah, they could probably give him a limousine ride home. He could ride in his own limousine.
Well, he might get a security escort here. He's going to be a popular man after today, and might be some coaches out there at some universities that would be interested in a guy like that. King will swing through that one. Of course, that is all just assumption and playful talk. Ball's going to bounce in and out of the glove of Menard. Wayne, do you have the 50-50 on you today?
I don't, but today. I did help purchase a ticket. Do you get the number? Do you know how much it's for?
They just announced it. I did not hear how much it was for. I was just curious if maybe there could be some positivity at the Diamond today. Here's a throw over to first, and that will knock King down. So out number 3, but it has been a positive day on the Barries side of things. Boy, they've been rolling, and there's no debate now that they are the best team, and by a wide margin in the WCBL. Pitch here to Freeman is down for strike number 1. Wayne, you got a dance party going on next to me here?
Whoops.
Moving on from pen clicking to now music playing. To be fair, I don't blame you for that in that game. That was a stressful one. Freeman will keep this one alive, fouling it off of Dahl. Nobody warming up behind AJ, so you would expect that if he's able to get through this inning fairly quickly, that he will be on for the 9th, and the Mavs won't be looking to use another arm. They do have the off day tomorrow, but there's no need to throw a bunch of different players into the game. Win a ball to Freeman.
You know, outside of the walk and hit batter before Menard's home run, Dahl's been very effective out there.
Here's a grounder towards first into the glove of Morrison, and that's out number 1. And good to see for Evan Morrison. He struggled defensively over the last couple of games, and he made that one look easy on a hot hop.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to play at first base. You got to be able to make the plays there. It's not an easy place to play, but Evans played there a lot in his career.
So, of course, we've talked about in the past that the Berries do not have a title, and that makes sense. This is only their second year in the league. The Yellow Jackets, who we had a long discussion about prior to today's game, they hadn't won one either. The last team from Saskatchewan, can you guess, to win a title, Wayne? Who do you think it was? And what year?
The Red Sox in 2017.
You would be incorrect on the team, but you do have the correct year. It was the Swift Current 57s in 2017.
That was going to be my second guess.
So Alberta has run the show for the last little while here. The Mavericks getting it done in 2018. That was their last title. Okotoks has won 2019, 2022, 23, and 24. 2020 didn't happen because of the pandemic, and in 2021, the Lethbridge Bulls won the title.
Yeah.
Over into the glove of Blake Dale. Springs on his feet as he leaps up to get out number 2. So it's been a bit of a drought for Sask, but they will look to regain that this year. And you think that this is their best chance. Seeing how Regina played, seeing how the Berries have played, those are two teams that don't mess around. And Moose Jaw, come playoff time, we know their players always stay around, and they've played upset many times.
Yeah, it's really hard to predict. I mean, we're not halfway through the season yet. But, boy, when you look at what the Berries have done so far.
Here's a grounder towards Morrison. He's got it in his glove. Over to Dahl, and that is out number 3. So AJ won't have to see Menard till next inning. And I'm sure that's a breath of fresh air for him. We will get one more word here from our official network, Flow Sports, and then be back with the Mavericks batters in the bottom of the 8th inning here from Athletic Park in Medicine Hat, Alberta. Adam Beeman on the mound now. We talked about him yesterday. We compared him and Luis Diaz so far this year, two of the premier relievers between these two squads. Both have pitched in today's game. Diaz had a good game. Looking to work here in the 8th, and we'll see if he gets the 9th as well. Face off against Adam Volcano. Volcano takes a strike there. Count is 2-1. Beeman, a member of the Berries last year as well. This one going to be fouled away by Volcano. No play is going to be able to be made. 1,381 on the attendance today.
Yeah, just about 1,400.
It does look like more than that, though. When
Yeah, there's a good crowd here today.
Volcano swing and a miss, and there's out number one. Blake Dale will head to the plate. Got one on the hand in his last plate appearance. It looked like Menard was asking him if he was good down there right now, so just making sure it was hard.
Yeah.
Dale, grounder over towards third, and a bouncer right off the third baseman's glove. Dale is going to make a quick turn for second, and he's going to be there. Maybe even thinking three as he holds onto his helmet, but he will hold onto his stride as well. He stops over at second.
That should be a hit. We'll see what... Oh, they're giving him an error. Even if he fields it cleanly, he might not be able to make the throw, but we're not the official scorekeepers, so...
Do you think that might be an error in judgment?
On the official scorekeeper, maybe.
Bat. Dale over on second, just the one out for Beeman. High one to Morrison. He'll take. Morrison with a base hit in his last at-bat. Beeman, quick shoulder check. Swing at that either. It was near his chest. There's a strike to Morrison. Beeman out of Central Arizona College. Just a freshman there. That's one thing about this Berries lineup. They are experienced within the WCBL, but a lot of their guys freshmen as Morrison will swing and miss. Especially on their pitching staff. Got about 4 seniors maybe. Maybe have around 7 or 8 freshmen.
Well, regardless of their class that they're in a class of their own.
One high to Morrison. Count is full. Here comes the throw from Beeman. Whew. So high that it knocked Menard's mask off. And down over for base, Evan Morrison getting himself back on the base path. So some better here from Morrison in his last 2.
Yeah, he came in. UC Usawa struck out both times, and that's Morrison's second plate appearance. He singled, and now he's got a walk. It's only one away.
Here's Micah Dvorak. Ooh, another high throw from Beeman. He's not pulling it down very well at the moment. Be a quick mound meeting here between Menard and Beeman. Beeman has not pitched in a lot of innings this year. That is his one default.
Zach Laird Lefty is thrown in the Barry's bullpen. He's trying to get warmed up pretty quick.
Dvorak has that one zip by him and off the top of his bat. I'm watching down at first base right now. There's some talking going on between Chad, or often referred to here, Pig Martin, with the Saskatoon Berries dugout. It looks playful and friendly, but they were having a conversation, him and a couple of the players. Here's Beeman. This one fouled aside by Dvorak, and he's getting frustrated down there. Beeman. Here comes the throw. Dvorak, swing and a miss, and a key out for Adam Beeman. A little bit of pressure being put on by the Mavericks, as they got two on. Jeremy
Barry. Way out in front.
Freeman hits that one up off the top of the netting. Any higher and it might have hit us over here in the booth. Beeman into the glove as the righty gets ready to deal. Couple looks over to second base. Here comes the throw, and Freeman's going to take it for a strike. Pitcher warming up for the Berries, and he might not have to warm up much longer. Leave it, and Beeman, after a little bit of trouble early on, strands two runners, and the Berries just 3 outs away from claiming their 21st victory of 2025. That and more when we come back.
I wonder what the record is.
Wayne's trying to figure out what the record is for, I guess, best three. I don't know if we have an official one on the website, so we don't have one on our hands. Luke Barriento game now. He throws a strike there to Menard. I would be shocked if anyone's hit 4 home runs in the game. If there was a Maverick that might have achieved that feat within their history, Joel Lutz back in the day, he very well could have hit 4.
I doubt it, but you know, I think we've got 1,380 fans still sticking around. Maybe they want to see what Menard can do, but
and he strikes out there, so he will not go a perfect 6 for 6 today.
And the Saskatoon Berries fans over on the right side are applauding him for his great game.
And he probably went up there swinging, thinking about hitting number 4. Wasn't going to be waiting on any pitches.
Well, you got nothing to lose now in this game. You're up by 6 runs in the 9th inning. Swing away.
We even saw a couple of Berries playing football, working on their 2-step drops over there. That was in between innings. And it looks like they're still playing, fighting for the football potentially.
I believe the Berries.
Medina stretches out of the way.
And just as the Berries off, back up on the Mavericks.
There's a strike to Medina. But the very much, at least with Swift Current, Joe Carnahan worked there for so long that there's a bit more of a respect thing, and he wants to beat his old team. But with the state that they're in right now, and with his connection, there's probably not as much competitive energy as when Regina comes to town.
Yeah, well, you've got the natural Western Hockey League rivalry between the Pats and the Blades as well. And I guess Swift Current would be in that with the
Broncos.
With the
Moose Jaw
Broncos.
Warriors.
Yeah, the Moose Jaw Warriors.
And the Prince Albert Raiders as well, but they're more northern. And he locates it in the sky for out number 2. So 2 quick outs for Luke Barrientos. Because it is not the weekend that they would have envisioned. I don't even think it's the weekend the Berries would have envisioned when coming in to play them, especially how their last matchup went. And it's a bit of a shock to the system.
Well, we talked about it a little bit. Streak. Was up well against rested after the so it did. However, getting out of town and being on a road trip might be the best thing for them.
And Barrientos is going to tap first base, and that will lead us out of the top of the 9th inning. One more chance to swing the bats here for the Mavs when we come back, and we'll see if there's anything that we've never seen before, but I would largely expect the Berries to be walking away with a victory.
Well, I believe there's a new pitcher coming in, left-hander. I think we just talked about Zach Laird coming in, and he's going to the mound.
Jaden Babiak will head things off for the Mavericks here in the bottom of the 9th inning in a game that they are down 12-6. They're down on the hit column as well, 15-6. It's been all berries today as Babiak will ground that one foul. The last 2 days have not been a common occurrence, not just at home but throughout the season for the Mavericks. We know their away record is a lot different than what they've done here. But it's interesting, when you play a team like the Berries, you have to begin to expect results like this, or at least the possibility for them. Babiak will foul that aside.
Well, you always want to measure your performance against the best. And Saskatoon were the best coming in. We had an opportunity to measure up against them, and we didn't succeed this time. But we get to play them another 2 more times here.
This one over into center field, and it will drop for a base hit. So the leadoff man on for the Mavericks. Tyler Vanesti coming up to bat behind him. Johnny Volcano will bat third. Those are the 3 that you'll get to see for sure. And unless we see 6 runs in the bottom of the 9th here, we'll likely see a Barry celebration. No, you on the other side of this thought I was going to say a Barry happy celebration. No, I didn't go there. I didn't use the pun again. I wasn't going to do it to you. Vanesti, 1 ball to him so far. Look over to Babiak at first, and Vanesti puts that one aside. We do have a new pitcher on the mound here, Wayne.
Yep, Zach Laird.
Laird, a lefty, one of the few on this team for the Berries.
Well, they started with the lefty.
They started a guy from Indiana State yesterday. That was Carter Beck, and now they're going to end today or the weekend series with a guy from Indiana State on the mound. There's a strike to Vanesti. The count is to 2-2. Looks like Laird almost turned away from the batter before he throws.
Yeah. Has his left paw.
It's dropped, and
Oh, he intentionally dropped it, which you
wow,
can't
let's see
do.
what the call's going to be here. For now, it's a double play, but I don't think that'll stand.
No, it's an intentional drop, so you can't intentionally drop it.
And let's see what the result of this discussion is.
Westland, good heads-up play. He tried to sell it as he just accidentally dropped it. But Vanesti will be out, and Babiak will stay at first base.
And you had several Mavericks crowded around the diamond. Coach JT was out of the dugout. Ryan Reed line. Of course, Chad Martin over at first base was in the mix, probably trying to get a sound bite from one of these umpires. So Volcano up with just 1 on and 1 out. Double
So
play
the
would end.
umpires are still discussing which batter should be there. I think they want to make a change. I think Babiak's going to be sent in, and Vanesti is going to be the runner at first. Joe Carnahan came out and did ask for an explanation from first base umpire Mike Richards. And now the umpires are going to get together.
This is interesting here. I see Vanesti right at the doorstep of the dugout. Babiak obviously off the base at first.
materially, it's not going to make much difference. There's going to be one out with a runner at first.
Babiak's super confused. Now he's going to go back to the base. JT is yelling out some directions. He was just getting a word from the home plate, and we're just about ready to go here after a short delay.
Well, Mike Richards is still talking with Chad Martin, the first baseman, and Babiak. And now Brian Stair is going over to talk. We're going to have two umpires. And JT is saying he wants Babiak at first, but the umpires are going to get the final call on this, no matter what either of the coaches decide or what they want decided.
And you could tell as JT was walking out there, I think Volcano was having some words, and he just told him that he had it. Now Richards will have a quick conversation with JT.
Richards.
And I'm looking at Ryan Reed's facial expression down at third base. He just had his hand over his mouth, shaking his head. He can't believe probably that it's taken this long, and off of first.
Well, Vanesti has to get his helmet back on. He has to go to first.
And my other question is, more so, the teams, it does matter. I'm sure for the Mavericks, it does matter who's on first. But in the grand scheme of things, with where this game is at, does it actually matter with who's on first in a game that the Mavericks are trailing by 6?
No, it doesn't. But in a close game?
In a close game, that's exactly.
You would want to have Babiak on first instead of Vanesti.
Ryan Reed shaking his head now down at third base, and he's still confused by the call. I'm sure everybody in the Mavericks dugout is a bit confused, and probably many people in the stands. It's going to hit off of Menard. Vanesti will go over to second. And now they're going to change up the ball here. Be a quick chat between
really surprised that this many fans are still here. There's got to be at least 1,000 fans here yet.
Well, the Berries travel well, so many of them wearing purple or light blue.
But that might be 100?
It might only be 100, but 100 more than usual, potentially. When Weyburn comes to town, you get a couple of families, but the fan base that the Berries have made over the last year and a half has been impressive.
You know, usually you'll stay if you're fans. 1,000 of our fans are still staying.
Volcano takes that for a strike. And there's that head shake that we were looking for the last few at-bats. Johnny gets back to it here. It's been missing from his routine. And did he go? They're going to check on it. No, he did not. Back on the mound is Laird. 2-2 count. Man on second for the Mavericks.
Oof.
No, didn't go on that one. And oof, that's the perfect saying, Wayne.
That looked close.
Fans beginning to clap. They'd like to have something positive to think about on their way home. That one's going to get blocked by Menard, but it doesn't matter. Volcano's over towards first base. We'll see if Joe Carnahan comes out of the dugout here. It looks like he's staying put. We've seen the Mavericks, not in this exact scenario, but when they were playing Swift Current, they had some pitching problems late in a game that they were winning big. And it ended up almost becoming a tied game at one point. I think they ended up winning by 1 run, 13-12. Not saying that's going to happen here, but they do bring with Nate King at the plate and how he's played today, anything is possible. And with Laird struggling, who knows? King, a couple of swings to the side. There's another low on Laird. Can't find the strike zone. And it looks like somebody's going to get warmed up for the Berries. Seems to be Carter Kopp heading down there. Just wanted to give a thank you to Carter's dad, who came up here and thanked us for the shout out last night. We thank you for taking time out of your day to have a quick conversation with us. It meant a lot.
Yeah, he's a loyal Berries fan.
Travels with them all over, he said.
Yeah.
Down is 2. Hopper, did they get the bag? They did not. It was going to be a tough play for Waters to make, and so the Mavericks stay alive, but there are 2 out.
Yeah, an awkward throw, and it would have been 2 away. It was just high, and first base tried his best.
Adam Volcano waiting to step into the batter's box and face Laird. With how Laird is thrown, it might be best for Volcano to stay patient in his approach, make Laird beat him. That one high there for Laird. Throw from Laird again, and it's high. So Kopp never ended up warming up. He's down there sitting. And I assume that he will remain that way. Laird just, no matter how, it just has to be one, and this could be it. Hit over into right field, and it is going to be caught by Ethan Murdoch. So the Berries, victorious in both their appearances at Athletic Park this weekend. They sweep the mini series here at the end of June, and they take this one 12-6 in dominant fashion, and large in part due to Ethan Murdoch. We now welcome you to Mavs postgame here from Athletic Park as we discuss the events in today's game, what went down, and recap, I guess, this week. And the loss today going to Xander Roberts for the Mavericks, his first this season. Whitney was real strong in his first appearance of the year at Athletic Park.
Yeah, Whitney pitched well. We were able to score 6 runs off of him, which is kind of unusual. But, yeah, they have a good supporting cast, whoever they brought in behind them, with Phelps, Beeman, Laird. They were all able to do the mop-up duty, so to speak. The Berries, I mean, they're just a real solid team. They don't hurt themselves defensively. Yeah, they had 3 errors today, but I would question a couple of those errors. I think they were hits. Pitching is very good, and of course they hit the ball. They had 15 hits again today, and Menard had himself a tremendous day and a tremendous weekend. I mean, he was phenomenal to watch, and it was a pleasure to see this. Unfortunately, it had to happen against the Mavericks. But the Mavericks, you know, they got to regroup now. They're on the road, and I think for them to get out of town, focus back to baseball. They lost 3 out of 4 at home this weekend. We talked about it. It was going to be a tough weekend with the Red Sox coming in, with the Berries coming in well rested. Let's get back to work, guys. Let's get on the road and win some games up in Fort Mac and Sylvan Lake, and who else are we playing there? We're playing the River
City.
Energy City, that's
them in
right.
Antarctica. You
I
never
can't
know where they're going to have their home field, but it is Henry. I almost said Lang again. Henry Singer Baseball Park, I think. I think that's the official word that we have.
It is. Henry Singer.
They will head up there, and maybe that'll alleviate a little bit of pressure. Lots in front of the home crowd recently. And Ethan Menard, after what we saw here, there might be a little more pressure on him. There's a true case for him to be in the home run derby, as now he's atop of the league in home runs, tied with a couple others at 6. It would be fun to watch him compete in that event. It's always fun every year. Each team gets one participant in it. And, that really does it from Athletic. Roberts, he's had such a great year. And in this one, it does not go in his favor, and he didn't have his stuff today. For a pitcher that has the ability, what is the game plan for getting back to where he was prior to this game, and how can you chip away at that when you're not playing?
Well, it's a one-off. He just couldn't get that curveball on where he lives. So there today, he can throw a bullpen. The other thing that's good is, we kind of talked about this, is that he probably only threw about 40 pitches that in the one inning. So he's going to be back on the mound quicker than if he was throwing 9,500 pitches. He'd need his full 4 or 5 days rest. Right now, he's he can throw a bullpen, but I don't think he has to change anything. It was just, it's a one-off. He's been so good. He just couldn't get that curveball where he wanted it to. And then on the fastball, when the team knows you only got 2 pitches and the one isn't working, they know that they can wait for the fastball. And when he did throw the fastball in there, they weren't missing it.
They sure didn't. They didn't at all this weekend, as it's another massive win for the Berries. They extend their lead in the East Division standings as well. And the Red Sox, I'm sure they're pretty happy to see the Mavericks losing, as they now get a bit closer to the Mavs with 2 consecutive losses. But we'll see how the rest of it unfolds as the season goes on. And we won't see you for a while. So, have a good next week. We wish you well, and hopefully we'll be back here with you on the 8th when the Weyburn Beavers come to town to play the Metasnap Mavericks. We'll be
July 1st for all Canadians, and happy July the 4th for all the American viewers. Great holidays, great countries.
I'm sure everybody will have fun celebrating, and hopefully we'll be watching the Mavs for Mavs fans' sake, celebrating here. It was Berries Day to have the one. As always, that does it for this. The next one brings.
Do you want to take this or shut it?